Committees on Government Corporations, National Defense, and Finance.
1734, an act further amending the Republic Act Number 7836, otherwise known as the Philippine Teachers Professionalization Act of 1994, as amended by Republic Act Number 9293, introduced by Senator Estrada.
Referred to the Committee on Civil Service.
1735, an act establishing a minimum age for social media use, prescribing obligations for social media platforms, providing penalties for and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Marcos.
To the Committees on Public Information and Science and Technology.
1736, an act amending Republic Act Number 11967, otherwise known as the Internet Transactions Act, and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Marcos.
To the Committee on Trade.
1737, an act establishing public basic education schools in geographically isolated and disadvantaged and conflict-affected areas, providing access roads leading to last-mile schools and appropriating funds therefor, introduced by Senator Villanueva.
To the Committees on Basic Education and Finance.
1738, an act granting tax incentives to employers that hire fresh graduates from provincial colleges, universities, and training centers, appropriating funds therefor and for other purposes, by Senator Ejercito.
To the Committees on Labor and Ways and Means.
1739, an act expanding the coverage of the Telecommuting Act and providing incentives for telecommuting employees, amending for the purpose Republic Act Number 11165, otherwise known as the Telecommuting Act, and for other purposes, by Senator Ejercito.
To the Committees on Labor, Civil Service, and Ways and Means.
1740, an act further extending the period of availment of the estate tax amnesty, amending for the purpose Section 4, 6, and 8 of Republic Act Number 11213, as amended by Republic Act Number 11569 and Republic Act Number 11956, otherwise known as the Tax Amnesty Act, as amended by Senator Pangilinan.
To the Committee on Ways and Means.
1741, an act institutionalizing the participation of civil society organizations in the preparation and authorization process of the annual budget, providing effective mechanisms therefore and for other purposes, by Senator Pangilinan.
To the Committees on Finance and Electoral Reforms.
Resolution number 279, resolution directing the Senate Committee on Women, Children, Family Relations, and Gender Equality conduct an inquiry in need of legislation into the rescues of foreign human trafficking victims in the Philippines, by Senator Hontiveros.
To the Committee on Women.
280, calling for appropriate Senate committee to conduct an investigation in need of legislation into the status of the 107.23 billion remitted by PDIC to the National Treasury with the specific objective of establishing a diversion mechanism, by Senator Hontiveros.
Referred to the Committee on Finance.
281, directing the Senate Committee on Tourism to conduct an inquiry in need of legislation into the implementation of safety standards and enforcement protocols of motorcycle tourism initiatives and endurance rides to guarantee the protection of participants and the general public by promoting domestic tourism, by Senator Ejercito.
To the Committee on Tourism.
282, directing the Senate Committee on Public Information and Mass Media to conduct an inquiry in need of legislation on the public information and safety awareness campaigns of the Philippine Coast Guard and the Maritime Industry Authority regarding sea travel safety in light of the recent maritime accidents, including the sinking of MV Trisha Kerstin 3, by Senator Padilla.
To the Committees on Public Information and Public Services.
284, resolution directing the Committee on Environment, Natural Resources, and Climate Change to conduct an inquiry in need of legislation on the conflicts arising mineral exploration activities in Dupax del Norte, Nueva Vizcaya, by Senator Pangilinan.
To the Committee on Environment.
285, resolution calling for the appropriate Senate committee to conduct an investigation in need of legislation into the systematic failures of the National Solid Waste Management Framework in light of the Binaliw landfill collapse, with the end view of mandating sustainable infrastructure and rigorous regulatory oversight, by Senator Hontiveros.
Referred to the Committee on Environment.
286, resolution commending and congratulating the Philippine Olympic Committee and Philippine Sports Commission for the exemplary leadership, support, and contribution to the successful participation of the Philippine delegation in the 33rd South Asian Games held in Thailand from 9 to 20 December 2025, by Senator Subiri.
To the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we consider proposed Senate Resolution number 210, taking consideration PS numbers 206, 211, 212, 213, 214, 215, 216, 217, 218, 219, 220, 221, 222, 223, 224, 225, 226, 227, 228, 229, 230, 231, 232, 233, 234, 235, 236, 237, 238, 239, 240, 241, 242, 246, 247, 248, 249, 255, and 261 and 265, Mr. President. Several resolutions congratulating our champions in the Southeast Asian Games. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion's approved. Consideration is in order. The Secretary will read the title of the measure without prejudice to inserting into the records the text of the said resolution.
Resolution commending and congratulating the Philippine contingent to the 33rd South Asian Games in Thailand for ably representing the country and for winning 50 gold, 70 silver, and 154 bronze medals.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, may we recognize our colleague to sponsor, Senator Christopher Lawrence Bongo.
Senator Christopher Bongo is recognized to sponsor the measure.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, as chairperson of the Senate Committee on Sports and one of the authors of these resolutions, it is with great pride and honor that I sponsor the Senate resolution commending and congratulating the Philippine contingent to the 33rd Southeast Asian Games in Thailand for representing our country and for winning a total of 50 gold, 73 silver, and 154 bronze medals, placing 6th overall in the final medal tally and ranking 4th with an aggregate total of 277 medals. First of all, I would like to express my warm regards and sincere appreciation to the entire Philippine delegation which took part in the 33rd edition of the Southeast Asian Games. Allow me to commend each member of the delegation for exemplifying hard work and dedication. Dito po ang iba sa kanila, mga nanalo rin po ng ginto, silver at bronze. Held from December 9 to December 20, 2025, the 33rd SEA Games brought together around 12,000 athletes competing in 54 sports, comprising 50 international sports, 3 demonstration sports, and 1 value-added sport across various venues in Bangkok and Chonburi province. 11 countries in the region participated in the event: Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, Singapore, Thailand, Timor-Leste, Vietnam, and the Philippines. For this regional sports spectacle, the Philippines sent its largest ever delegation with approximately 1,600 athletes and officials proudly representing the country in various sporting events, underscoring the nation's strong commitment to athletic excellence and regional camaraderie. Mr. President, the remarkable performance of our athletes is a testament to the unwavering dedication, discipline, and perseverance of our Filipino athletes, coaches, and support staff, which trained tirelessly and competed with integrity, resilience, and excellence. Their journey to the 33rd Southeast Asian Games was marked by countless hours of training, personal sacrifice, and steadfast commitment to excellence. Each medal they brought home symbolizes not only personal victory, but also national pride, inspiring millions of Filipinos, especially our youth, to pursue their dreams through sports. At isang paraan rin po na ilayo natin ang mga kabataan sa masasamang bisyo ay through sports. Parati kong sinasabi, get into sports, stay away from drugs to keep us healthy and fit. Mr. President, since assuming the chairmanship of the Committee on Sports in 2019, we have seen the country secure its first Olympic gold medal. Sa Tokyo Olympics, na panalunan po ang kauna-unahang gold ni Heidelin Diaz at 2 gold naman po sa 2024 Paris Olympics. Dati po, kulela tayo, wala talaga tayong ginto sa Olympics. Ngayon, meron na tayong 3 na gold medal sa Olympics. Kaya pa nating madagdagan ito pag nagtulungan po ang PSC, POC, private sector. Mr. President, these achievements highlight the importance of bringing together all of our sports agencies, kagaya po ng Philippine Sports Commission, Philippine Olympic Committee at ang mga pribadong stakeholders para sa kapakanan at tagumpay ng ating mga atleta. We must unite and support a strong and effective system for our athletes. Importante magkaisa po ang lahat po ng sports sector. Of course, ang ating mga national sports associations. Hindi lamang pinansyal po ang tulong na kailangan ng ating mga atleta. Napakahalaga rin po ang moral support, sapat at masustansyang pagkain sa panahon ng kanilang training at maayos na kagamitan upang maging ganap ang kanilang paghahanda. Kailangan po nakafocus lang po ang ating mga atleta sa pagtitraining at pagko-compete. Wala na silang ibang dapat isipin pa. Nakatutok po ang ating mga atleta para marami pa tayong mapanalo ng mga medalya sa mga international competition. Kaya kailangan nakafocus lamang sila sa kanilang complete training habang tayo naman ay nagbubuklod upang tiyakin na lahat ng kanilang pangangailangan ay natutugunan. When government and the private sector move together, our athletes are empowered to reach their full potential. Mr. President, esteemed colleagues, ako po'y nakakasiguro that our country will become a strong contender in future competitions and we will be dubbed as a sports powerhouse in Asia. Congratulations rin po sa recent hosting po ng Philippine Tennis Association sa recently WTA 125 competition. Ito po yung Philippine Open na nakapag-promote not only tennis, no, but also tourism po para sa ating bansa na napakaganda naman po talaga ng Pilipinas na ipagmamalaki natin. To our athletes, you have become a symbol of strength and a great source of inspiration to our fellow countrymen that continues to give us hope in the face of adversity. Our Filipino athletes have proven time and again of their undying devotion and even unified the country through sports, thus upholding the true spirit of patriotism. As your chairman of the Committee on Sports and on Youth, rest assured I will continue to pursue sports development programs and initiatives that will promote the welfare of our athletes to help restore our rightful place in the world of sports. Naniniwala rin po ako na isang paraan nga po ito na ilayo natin ang mga kabataan. Hindi lang po kabataan, ang mga kababayan natin sa masasamang bisyo through sports po. Healthy pa tayo pag when we are physically fit. At bilang sponsor po ng budget ng Philippine Sports Commission sa nakaraang 6 na taon, pinaglaban ko po talaga na mataasan ng kanilang budget dahil po para naman po ito sa ating mga atleta. Napakaliit po ng share ng PSC. Every year lang po, kumbaga sa piece of sa cake, parang wala pang ang asukal doon sa icing, yung share ng Philippine Sports Commission sa natatanggap nila sa national government. Kaya naman po, masaya po ako. Worthy of note, Mr. President, is the Supreme Court's order directing PAGCOR and PCSO with finality na po ito na buo na po ang i-remit na full amount due to PSC nasa as mandated by law at inaasahan natin na malaking tulong po ito sa ating mga atleta at sa ating sports sector. At pakiusap ko lang po sa PSC, gamitin niyo po ang pondo ng bayan, ang PSDF, Philippine Sports Development Fund, sa tama at magagamit po ng ating mga atleta yung pera po ng gobyerno. Moreover, I strongly value the role of sports tourism in our country. Yan naman po ang priority ng ating chairperson at ng buong komisyon ng PSC ngayon. Aside from promoting sports, ay mapopromote rin po ang kagandahan ng ating bansa through sports tourism. By hosting and supporting sporting events, we showcase the Philippines as a premier destination for sports while inspiring our people, especially the youth, to engage in physical activities and strive for excellence. Muli, binabati ko po ang Philippine delegation sa 33rd SEA Games. Win or lose, Pusong Pinoy ang panalo, lumalaban talaga ang Pusong Pinoy. Isang mainit na pagbati po sa inyong lahat at bawat isa sa inyo ay naging bahagi ng tagumpay ng ating bansa. Thank you, Mr. President. Mabuhay po ang ating mga atletang Pilipino. Andito po sila.
Thank you. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, may I be allowed to also sponsor the said measure? If I may, Mr. President.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Please.
Mr. President, I would like to join my colleagues in giving a big salute to all the athletes who proudly represented us in the 33rd Southeast Asian Games in Thailand. It is so exciting to see our young Filipino athletes excelling on such a large global platform, inspiring new generations of budding athletes back here in the Philippines. We celebrate not only their impressive medal haul of 50 golds, 73 silvers, and 154 bronzes, but we also celebrate their fierce determination, their hard work, and their commitment to showing the best of the Filipino spirit to the sporting world. Sayang, Mr. President, kung may arnis sana dyan, nadagdagan sana ng mga 5 gold yun. Sana. It makes me happy to see champs like Alex Ayala, EJ Obiena get rock star status among our people, and many of the other athletes that are there. Among our kids especially, that love these athletes. You cannot ask for a better role model, Mr. President, showing great discipline and passion for their sport and showing great love for our country. They represent us on big stages like the Southeast Asian Games. To the entire Philippine delegation, maraming salamat sa inyong lahat. We are so very proud of you and we will continue to support you in your athletic journey. Mabuhay po kayong lahat. Thank you. Mr. President, next to give their, Senator Jingo Estrada would just like to insert to the record his sponsorship speech of the resolution for the record, Mr. President. Next to sponsor is Senator Pia Cayetano.
Senator Pia Cayetano is recognized.
Mr. President, I rise to co-sponsor Senate Resolution number 210, taking into consideration 4 resolutions that I filed: Senate Resolution number 239, Senate Resolution number 240, Senate Resolution number 241, and Senate Resolution 242. I would like to begin by greeting our national athletes, coaches, and staff, and the entire Philippine Sports Commission family who are with us today and are back in training as we speak. As a former student athlete and also a national athlete, I know the sacrifices behind every medal and the weight of the flag on one's shoulder. Personally, I believe sports can transform lives. It molds character and teaches important values like discipline, determination, leadership, and teamwork. It serves as a key enabler of the Sustainable Development Goals promoting health, education, and social inclusion, specifically SDG 3 on health, SDG 4 on inclusivity and equitable quality education, and SDG 5 achieving gender equality and empowering all women and girls. The 33rd SEA Games in Thailand saw the Philippines' largest delegation to date with over 1,600 strong. We finished 6th place overall with an impressive 277 medal haul, 50 golds, 73 silvers, and 154 bronzes, proving once again that the Filipino talent is world-class. I actually had the unique opportunity, Mr. President, to watch the games. Given that it ran for about 2 weeks, I think I was only there for 3.5 days, but 3.5 days was more than enough to inspire me, was more than enough to bring tears to my eyes in every single game that I watched. Our athletes continue to make history, Mr. President, and I'd like to mention a few. So, I have pictures, so let us wait for the pictures to load. There we go. So, Nag-sprint din po ako para makarating dito sa pole vault event ni EJ Obiena. Kasi grabe, Bangkok is already known for their terrible traffic. But because of the SEA Games, it was even worse. So bumaba ako dun sa van na sinasakyan ko at iniwan ko yung driver at naglakad kami. Tapos nung alam namin kasi na malapit ng, nag-umpisa na si EJ and mabilis lang naman ang pole vault kasi talon. Pag hindi na nakatalon, hindi na naabot ng kalaban mo, di panalo ka na. So, nag-sprint na kami. Pagdating namin, nandun kami sa kabilang side ng napakalaking stadium. So, from the other side, nakita ko si AJ sa kabila. So, sprint na naman kami. And lo and behold, napanood ko yung ending. And as you all know, the rest is history. EJ is the gold medalist of the pole vault event. And then while I was there, video. Cole also won the bronze medal. I did not get a chance to watch John Cabang Tolentino, but I did have a chance to chat with him because he was there. I think he did the hurdles the day before, or at least before I got there. So John Cabang Tolentino shattered a 10-year-old record set by Thailand in 2015 in the 110 hurdles with a time of 13.66 seconds. Very inspiring because he's a Filipino who lives in Spain. And when I was interviewing him, he told me that he is about to go to law school as he continues to train as an athlete. So we're very happy to know that our athletes are continuing also in other areas of life beyond sports. The next sport that I want to mention is men's football team. Our men's football team reached the semifinals for the first time since 1991, ending a 34-year drought. And then we have 11-year-old Marcel Paris Alegado, who made history as our youngest ever gold medalist in skateboarding. Agatha Wong, dear colleagues, would you believe, has won 6 gold medals over all the SEA Games that she has attended. Iba yung kondisyon ka, nanalo ka ng medal ngayon, nanalo ka siguro ng 2 medal this year, pero to win a medal every time that there's gold medal at that, every time there's a SEA Games in the past, the 6 last SEA Games is a feat in itself. So congratulations to Agatha Wong. The baseball team also clinched their 3rd straight championship. Beach volleyball, Alas Pilipinas with members Bernadette Pons, Cici Rondina, Sunny Villapando, and Deej Rodriguez made history with their first ever beach volleyball gold. I would have wanted to watch beach volleyball. I'm a fan of these girls. Kaya lang, malayo. I think it was more than 3 hours away, no? And there was so much going on in Bangkok. I would have had to give up all the games that were going on in Bangkok to be able to go there. So unfortunately, I didn't get to watch it, but it was an amazing game. I saw clips on YouTube. The triathlon team. The triathlon team is also very close to my heart because I am a triathlete. Sabi nila, if you do a triathlon once a year, you can call yourself a triathlete. If you do an Ironman, which is 3.8 kilometer swim, 180 kilometer bike, and 42 kilometer run, you do it once and you can call yourself a triathlete for life. So therefore, I am a triathlete for life as I have done an Ironman. So this triathlon team is so close to my heart. They asserted absolute supremacy with a historic 3 gold medal sweep in a single day. Kira Ellis, and I had hoped that my team would be able to show a photo. That's her on the right bottom corner. Won 2 or 3 golds, if I'm not mistaken. She also won the youth championship, I think, barely a year ago. But I wanted to show a photo because her first ever triathlon was in my event when she was 3 years old. I have an event in memory of my son who passed away he passed away because he had a rare chromosomal disorder, but for many years I hosted a 12-hour event in his memory. It's called Gabriel Symphony. And she was the youngest participant at the age of 3. She swam with a kickboard and then bike in a trike. and then ran. And so that is my connection with Kira and her family as I've seen her grow up. She ran my first Pinay in action. She walked because she was 2 years old when she joined. But I'm so happy to see her living her dream and achieving her goals. Gilas Pilipinas, I was so proud to be able to witness their win. They secured their 20th championship in a hard-fought, emotional game. I should be showing you photos of both the men's and women's team, as I had the honor of watching and cheering and pulling the hair of Chairman Pato because we sat beside each other. And these were back-to-back games. And then what we did in between the, women's, no? Was the women's, no? The women's game, they won. And then we left to watch Yumir's game, and he also won. And then we went back to watch the men's game, and they won. So, ako siguro yung swerte sa kanila, sa presence ko. No, joke lang yon. They worked hard, they deserve it. I was honored to be able to watch this. So speaking of Yumir, I got to watch him box. To be honest, I am not one to watch boxing. Natatakot ho ako na makita yung mga atleta natin na sumusugod at nakikipagbakbaka na alam ko may potential na masaktan sila. So, I don't really watch. Pero kasi pag yung mga players na natin, sabi ko, if they can show up to fight in the game, then I can show up to cheer. So I got to watch a couple of them, including Olympian Ira Villegas, who brought home the silver or bronze? Ira? Bronze? Bronze. And then yun nga, napanood ko si Yumir. Wow, what a show. I don't know how many of you know, but many of us were not happy with the officiating in Thailand. And despite the many amazing boxers that we have, many of them were practically sure wins. Unfortunately, they did not make it, but Yumir did. And Yumir, dear colleagues, is a 5-time gold medalist, winning a gold every time he joined the SEA Games since 2015. So what an honor to watch you, Yumir. This momentum of excellence continued as we look at the individual record breakers who stood out among the best in the region. Swimmer Kyla Sanchez. Recognizing the queen of the pool, Kyla Sanchez, who entered 8 events and won a medal in every single one of them, 3 golds and 5 silvers, makes her the most bemedaled and top-performing Filipino athlete in the 2025 Games. Her performance was a masterclass in discipline. She has shown our youth that excellence is not an accident, it is a habit. And our tennis player, Alex Ayala. I had the pleasure of watching her. I watched her play in her mixed doubles with Australian youth champion Nino Alcantara. They won a bronze. And then she went on to play in the individual women's, where she brought home the gold, bringing pride and joy to all of us. Everybody, all the nationalities who watch Alex enjoy watching her play. She ended a 26-year drought and became the 3rd Filipina in the history to win the women's singles gold. Now, one of my other favorite teams, the Philippine Women's National Football Team. Huwag kayo magtatampo kung may favorite ako. It's just that isa lang yung katawan ko. So yun na lang yung naging exposure ko sa buhay. Pero bata pa naman ako, so may chance pa akong manood pa sa iba pang mga sports. It just so happened that my daughters are football players. They played for UP, and so marami dun sa Philippine team nakilala ko, and then I was head of delegation of the Philippine team that made it to the World Cup in New Zealand. That's why kilala ko ang karamihan ng players, and that's why close po sila sa akin. And they made a historic win. The first time ever in our history, the Philippine women's national team for football captured the gold medal for women's football, emerging as the champions of Southeast Asia. I have watched these women break barriers from their qualifying matches in the regional tournaments to the World Cup, and then now. They showed us that with unwavering dedication, no goal is ever out of reach. They have redefined what is possible for every young girl in our country. I would not want to close, Mr. President. Panoodin muna natin.
tell the truth, if I was doing this for you, then I have nothing left to prove. Nah, this for me though.
Kilo na ako, but they beat defending champion Vietnam, who had hoped to make it their fourth gold. I think they're ninth. They're ninth. So this team that they beat 9 times na nag-gold. And what I want to share with all of you is, till the very end, bakbakan, halftime 0-0, full time 0-0, and then they had a shootout. And during the shootout, 0-0, 0-0, and the very last kick, the Philippine goalkeeper caught the kick made by Vietnam and thus made the Philippine team a winner. So it was amazing. It's worth every second that I spend watching these girls and these young men on the field and in their element. So in closing, Olympians and champions are not born overnight. They are developed through years of investment, relentless effort, and sacrifice. We all extend our deepest gratitude to the coaches and support staff, PSC and POC, and as I always say, it takes a village to raise an athlete. Behind every medal is a team that provides the guidance necessary to reach the podium. Now it is our job to ensure they have sufficient funding and world-class facilities. This representation has continuously advocated and remains committed to strengthen our grassroots programs, to find new talent, aid in their development, hone their skills until they become the elite professionals and future Olympians they want to be. Again, we congratulate our athletes for the pride and honor that they have brought to the Philippines. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Joel Villanueva is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, dear colleagues, bilang isa po sa may akda ng Senate Resolution number 255, ako po ay lubusan na nalulugod at buong pusong nagpupugay sa ating mga atletang itinaas ang ating bandila sa nakaraang 33rd Southeast Asian Games na ginanap sa Thailand nitong Disyembre. Ginoong Pangulo, nagpakitang gilas po ang ating mga atleta at nakipagsabayan sa best of the best ng Southeast Asia. At dahil po dito, sila ay nag-uwi ng kabuuang 277 na medalya. 50 ginto, 73 na pilak, 154 na tanso. Mr. President, this is the largest overseas medal haul in the history of the Philippines. And at the SEA Games, Mr. President, a feat, Mr. President, that deserves the highest commendation. Please allow me to mention a few of our most remarkable triumphs in the 2025 regional meet. A record-setting 4-peat in the pole vault by fellow Tomasian, EJ Obiena. Outstanding performance by swimmer Kyla Sanchez, who was here last time, Mr. President, who represented the Philippines in the Games for the first time and secured 3 golds and 5 silvers. The Gilas Pilipinas, kung may favorite si Ate Senpia, ang favorite ko syempre yung basketball, yung Gilas Men's and Women's Pilipinas na pinanood po natin lahat ng laro. They defended and reclaimed their crowns. Congratulations. Si April, nakita ko kanina. Nandyan po sa gallery, Mr. President. Historic achievements in volleyball with the women's beach volleyball team composed of Cici Rondina, another fellow Tomasian, Mr. President, Bernadette Pons, Dij Rodriguez, and Sunny Villapando, claiming the nation's first ever gold in the event, and the men's volleyball squad earning a well-deserved bronze. The Blue Boys and Blue Girls dominated softball. Who can forget Alex Ayala ended a 26-year title drought in women's singles tennis. The men's baseball team struck gold for the 3rd straight time and 4th overall for the country. My fraternity brother, Yumir Marshall, claimed his 5th career SEA Games gold medal. We're proud of you, Brad. Our women's football team clinched our historic first ever gold in the regional meet. And of course, the raw inspiration shown by our youngest gold medalist, the 11-year-old skateboarder Mazel Alegado, whose victory reminds us that excellence knows no age. Across various sports, Mr. President, from practical shooting to gymnastics, triathlon to modern pentathlon, and many more, our athletes captivated the world with their record-setting performances and unwavering commitment to excellence. Kaya naman po, Ginoong Pangulo, sa ating mga atleta, taos-puso po ang ating pasasalamat. Ang inyo pong ipinamalas ay hindi lamang husay sa laro, kundi disiplina, tiyaga at pananalig. Sa bawat pagsubok, pinili po ninyong magpatuloy. Sa bawat hamon, pinili po ninyong maniwala sa inyong sarili, sa inyong koponan, at sa Diyos na nagbigay ng lakas sa ating lahat. We'd also like to thank and commend all the coaches, Mr. President, all the trainers, support staff, mga PTs, therapists, Mr. President, and even their families as well. As the Philippine Olympic Committee, nais nating pasalamatan ang Philippine Sports Commission sa pangunguna ni Chairman Pato Gregorio, whose sacrifices and encouragement made these victories all the more possible. Muli, Ginoong Pangulo, saludo po kaming lahat sa inyo. Dear athletes, congratulations and may you continue to shine brightly in the global sporting arena. Mabuhay ang mga atletang Pilipino. Maraming salamat, Ginoong Pangulo, and may God bless us all.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Yes,
Mr. President,
Majority Leader.
before I move to adopt the Senate resolution, may I be allowed to just make an amendment, Mr. President, if I may?
Yes, please proceed.
I just reviewed the parchment paper that we made for our athletes. It adopted, in basic part, the resolution of Senator Pia Cayetano, which had all the names of the gold medalists. May I make an amendment, if the body will allow me, that we add the names of the silver medalists and the bronze medalists, so that they will be etched in history in the Senate when we approve their resolution as a Senate-approved resolution. So, I so move, Mr. President, if that amendment will be accepted by the whole body. Yes.
Any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Thank you. So, lahat ng pangalan po ng nanalo, I think 277 of them will be in this approved Senate resolution. The only hitch, Mr. President, is when we do the photo opportunity, that will not be, what they're holding is not going to be the official. We will just have to give them one by one. Later on, the approved amended version with all their names, Mr. President. So just for the photo op later on, we'll just ask them to hold the parchment paper, but later on we'll have to replace it with another approved Senate resolution with all the names of the winners. So, Mr. President, with that,
Well, although we have already signed all their copies, but yes, we can do that.
kaya mo yan, Mr. President, 277
In
signatures
re-enrolled
lang yan.
copy, we will make sure that it's in the enrolled copy.
Yeah, isa-isa.
Puro gold medalist lang.
Yeah, kasi
Yung
na yun po,
present, yung mga
puro gold
present,
medalist lang. Eh.
oh,
Kawawa
yes,
naman
okay.
naghirap. Yung kumapos lang ng konti, gold medal na sana eh. Baka nalutong Macau eh, hindi natin
Alright.
alam. Kawawa naman.
Yeah, I just know, Majority Leader, why there are 41 resolutions.
Aba. Iba-iba nag-file, Mr. President.
okay.
Tapos individual
So,
ginawa.
individual. The
Yes,
others
po.
are individual resolutions. All right.
Yes. Actually, many lobbied to me, Mr. President, mga kaibigan natin, mga NSA. Alam naman ni Chairman Pato, marami tayong kaibigan na NSAs. And they said, kung pwede, solo resolution, solo. If we did that, Mr. President, it will take maybe 1 week to approve and have photo ops with all these athletes. So we decided, Mr. President, in the Rules Committee, is to just have one resolution congratulating them all. Kaya sinama na natin po sila lahat.
Taking into consideration all the others. All right.
Yes, sir, Mr.
Okay.
President. So, Mr. President, then before we adopt it, I move that we make all members as co-author and co-sponsor of this measure, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, all members are made co-authors or co-sponsors of the proposed resolution 210.
Mr. President, with that, I move to adopt proposed Senate Resolution number 210, taking into consideration all the aforementioned resolutions I mentioned earlier, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, proposed Senate resolution 210 is hereby approved and adopted.
Congratulations to all the athletes. Mabuhay po kayo lahat. Mabuhay po kayo lahat. Before we do the photo opportunity, Mr. President, we'll take up another resolution which is equally important, Mr. President. If I may, Mr. President, I move that we take in consideration proposed Senate Resolution number 286, which congratulates also the Philippine Olympic Committee and the Philippine Sports Commission. Because without their invaluable support, we would have a difficult time to receive all these medals from our athletes.
All right. Hearing no objection, consideration is in order. You may proceed.
Thank you. We ask the Secretary to read the title.
The Secretary will read the title of the measure without prejudice into inserting into the records the text of the said resolution.
Resolution commending and congratulating the Philippine Olympic Committee, the Philippine Sports Commission for the exemplary leadership, support, and contribution to the successful participation of the Philippine delegation in the 33rd Southeast Asian Games held in Thailand from 9 to 20 December 2025.
Majority Leader,
May I be allowed to sponsor the measure, Mr.
you may proceed.
Thank you. Mr. President, the whole country rightfully rallied behind our athletes and cheered for them through every game in Bangkok and Chonburi for the 33rd Southeast Asian Games last December. But now, I want to take a moment to thank and salute the officials and staff of the Philippine Sports Commission and the Philippine Olympic Committee, who quietly worked behind the scenes from day one as they supported our athletes in their journey to and through the Southeast Asian Games. To the Philippine Sports Commission, Chairman Pato Gregorio, and all the members of the Commission, and to Philippine Olympic Committee President Bambo Tolentino, and all the hardworking people of the PSC and POC, maraming salamat po. With your assistance and support, our athletes have been able to fully commit themselves to their training and development, allowing them to reach their full potential as they competed in the Southeast Asian Games. Thank you for shepherding our delegation, not just in the SEA Games, but throughout their long-term growth as athletes. I am hopeful that the success of the delegation of the SEA Games will embolden the PSC and the POC to strengthen its athlete development programs as we approach LA 2028. And you can trust that we in the Senate, Mr. President, pangako po namin sa PSC at POC, kami po sa Senado ay handa tumulong sa inyo sa PSC at POC and support our athletes throughout this golden age of Filipino excellence in sports. Maraming salamat po, Mr. President.
Thank you. And congratulations.
With that, Mr. President, I move to adopt proposed Senate Resolution number 286. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, proposed Senate Resolution 286 is hereby approved and adopted.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I move to suspend session for a minute so that we can have a photo opportunity, a golden opportunity to have photographs with these champions.
Session suspended.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Madam President, nice to see you on the yes, session resumed already, right, Madam President?
Yes, session is resumed.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that we adjourn session until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday, February 9, 2026. I so move, Mr. President. Madam President.
Any objections? I don't see the minority here, only the majority.
This is also in cooperation with the minority.
With the minority,
They know that
yes.
we're going to adjourn early.
No objections
Thank
heard. Session is adjourned until Monday,
3 o'clock.
February 9,
9.
2026.
Thank you very much, Madam President.